Welcome to this week's episode of Your Stock Request for the 15th of July. Hi, I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director at Fairmont Equities. Your Stock Request is the weekly video where I take your requests and analyse the share price charts. So this week we have Soul Pattinson, Max 7 Tech, Northern Star, AVA Risk Group and Sandfire Resources. So if you have a request, send it through. Make sure you're getting the free newsletter every week, but if you want our best ideas, you need to be getting the Dynamic Investor Report, which comes out every Tuesday. But if you do enjoy these videos, we'd love you to share them on social media or even leave us a review. Our main business is in portfolio management. So if you'd like to have a broking account with us and work with me directly, then please give me a call and we can have a chat about that. And all the advice here, of course, is general only. So looking back at the performance of Soul Pattinson over the last year, we still have an uptrend by the looks of it. Although you'll notice that the daily volatility, especially since sort of the last quarter of last year, has been quite large. So it's one of those stocks I can understand you'd be easily thrown out, especially as you could see here, rolling over, having quite a big dip and then getting going again. But overall, it looks like there's still a trend. Most recently, we've got a situation where it rounded, it came back here in April, May, rounded out in May, which was a good sign. And then it started to move again, and we could see making a new higher high. And there's obviously a lot more volume coming into the stock now, which is a good sign. So at the moment, it looks like it will trend higher. I suppose, in terms of downside, where would your stops be? I think clearly this previous low here near $29 is major support. So I think as long as it stays above this low point, you've still got an uptrend. Okay, Max 7. Just zoom out so we could see nice rally off those March lows, peaking in February. But what's become obvious now is we've had this head and shoulders that's the clear head and shoulders that's been broken. So you've got the left shoulder, the head, right shoulder, a very clear neckline here. So this break here is a negative. Now with the head and shoulders, it's said that the target, once you break, is the depth of this, the distance between the neckline and the head, top of the head. So if I just grab my Fibonacci tool to measure that, drag it down here, we could see that it takes us to sort of the mid to low 70-cent region as a possible target, downside target. However, we can see this decline is actually slowing down a bit. So, you take those forecast targets with a grain of salt, because look, if it is sort of slowing down here and if the range is tightening up, maybe that's all we're going to see in terms of downside. So I wouldn't want to be in it here. I think it's worth keeping an eye on, just see what it does here. Maybe the range tightens up and it breaks to the downside and takes you to 70 cents, but you might get a rally and a retest of this, and then I think once it gets beyond that, it's looking okay. Okay, Northern Star. So over the last year, we could see that sort of had a nice retest of this March low. So the two lows in March. So a nice bounce here. Looked like it was ready to get going, but clearly this line of resistance near $12, it was unable to break through that. So we've had a bit of downside here in June, but anyone who watches Northern Star, hopefully you would have noticed this clear tightening of the range, which is always something worth watching. So you've got this tightening of the range here, and then we've had a nice break yesterday. So to me, that breaks a buy signal. So it looks like Northern Star wants to head higher from here. Clearly this line of resistance just under $12 is going to be a problem. So we just need to see what happens there. As I said, this is a buy. It'll come up here, it'll hit resistance, and obviously if you can push through that, that's a further buy signal. Okay, AVA. So we've had this decline for most of this year, but it's looking more bullish again. We've had this nice bounce off the low, come back, it's put in a higher low, rallied strongly here on volume, and now we've got a higher high. So it looks like this downtrend's over, and we're starting to see AVA get a move on. Now if I just zoom in here, we could see that after this move up, it is congesting a bit within this 1 day's range. So it still looks bullish. It's just having a bit of a breather. Very clear little range there. So to me, it still looks like a hold. Next buy signal would be obviously to crack through this, and then it should, if it does that, then it should get going. So that would be the next buy signal if it breaks up through there. And finally, Sandfire. So still got a bit of an uptrend here since those lows in October. Now in terms of what it's doing here, it's congesting. So we've had this really sharp rally here, and it's just congesting against that, consolidating against that. If I get the fib tool and just measure the length of this rally, we could see that it's come back to 50%. So it's retraced half that rally. So it might be finding support here. However, price action is fairly negative. So by that I mean, we've got this sharp pullback. The rallies don't really do much. Another sharp pullback. Here it's been unable to do much. Looks like it's sort of rounding out. Potentially wants to head a little bit lower. So the longer term picture looks fine. We've still got this uptrend. For the moment, this still looks a little bit weak. Too early for a buy signal. I'd like to see more bullish price action. So whether that's a big strong day or a couple of big days up in a row on good volume, but at the moment it still just looks like it's drifting back. Okay, well that's all for this week. As always, if you have a request, send it through. Try to look at it next week for you.